Hello controllers, Michael speaking unsurprisingly again. This tutorial will be the first to acknowledge that we're not the only ones controlling on the network. We'll be talking about ATC coordination and handing over strips. Throughout a flight, pilots are not handled by a unique controller from departure to arrival. They switch frequencies a lot. The new controller does not have to pull out a new strip and ask and write all the information again. Rather, the controller handing over the plane sends a strip to the controller taking over, telling the pilot to contact or monitor the new frequency. In real life, this can be done physically, and the strip is literally placed or slid onto a rack on the receiver's workbench or through a network, and the receiver gets a copy of the strip printed. ATC-pie simulates this very well. Let me show you how. Say we have two neighboring controllers and a dummy aircraft to hand over. I'll place Alice servicing Abuja and Bob at Enugu, two Nigerian airports about 150 miles apart. So let's connect Alice, start ATC-pie at Abuja, Delta November, Alpha Alpha. Now Bob at Enugu, Delta November, Echo November. And here is my aircraft, Charlie, the good old UFO that I've placed circling in the night somewhere in between. Now we've got two windows, two instances running at the same time, Alice at the top and Bob in the bottom left hand corner. Connect her, and to use the feature you must activate strip exchange and add a nickname. We'll add Alice here for her. Now Bob at Enugu. Since I'm using the same computer for both, I must have them on different ports. We see that our two controllers see the aircraft. Now we're ready to look at the handover pane in the main window. In Alice's list here, we see we have a neighbor whose call sign is Enugu and whose nickname, visible in the tooltip here, is Bob. And Bob sees Alice in his list under the call sign for Abuja. Something more that you can make visible to the neighboring ATCs is the frequency to contact you on. This will help them issue the handover instruction to the aircraft they're passing on to you. See how it gets displayed under the call sign in the neighbor's list. Now let's hand the plane over. Say Alice is controlling the aircraft, so she has created a strip, the call sign filled in, UFO Charlie, and a few details like it's departing from Abuja, destination Enugu. She's linked the strip to the aircraft, remember the middle click, and now wants to hand it over to Bob. To do so, she just needs to drag the strip and drop it on the chosen receiver in the handover list. The strip disappears, which means the transfer is successful. On his side, Bob receives the strip on the unassigned rack with an indication of who sent it, which disappears when the strip is acknowledged on first click. Now an important note, as we said we were not alone on the network. ATC-pie is coexisting with another handover capable client called OpenRadar. Since OpenRadar was there first, ATC-pie chose to use its Exchange server in order to allow transparent coordination between all controllers, but it required some compromise as philosophies differ. There are two major restrictions that you need to remember as an ATC-pie user. First, a handover will fail if the contact is not in range of the receiving controller. Second, you can only send strips that you have linked to a radar contact, and must hope that no OpenRadar user has claimed ownership of that same contact. A friendly note to OpenRadar users is that you shouldn't be pulling every strip that comes into your range to the left-hand column. Stick to those you are actually in control of and in contact with. You'll appreciate how much this will avoid disrupting the general fun. But don't worry too much. ATC-pie will always recover your strip if a handover fails. In any case, proper coordination generally takes some prior agreement between controllers. Now one last note, if there is no controller to hand the strip over to when a contact is going out of your range, and if you've made precious changes on the strip that you and the pilot might want a future controller to see, for example a route or a destination, just push a flight plan online so that an ATC can eventually download it. Releasing the aircraft without handing him over and discarding the strip will have you lose all its details.